Alright, so today we have a very massive update on our movement, Stop Killing Games. It's kind of funny because I talked about it just like a few days ago, and then all of a sudden it ended up surpassing signatures not too long ago. Even now, it's currently at almost like 1.25 million signatures, so yeah guys, I mean, if you're in the EU, keep signing it. Keep signing it. And the reason why I'm actually very much like interested in this movement is just because, like, I've said this in my last video, but I'll say it really quickly here. Like, if this ends up going through, there will be so much other, like, not repercussions, but so much other stuff that will be looked at in like tax sphere and all this stuff. So take in, like, this could be like the big step into something much bigger. But anyways, just want to mention that, so really quickly in case you were wondering about that. But anyways, it turns out that today I found out, or at least not too long ago, that it looks like game lobbyists are responding back, or Video Games Europe has responded back according to this. And so you have to understand that if Stop Killing Games wasn't a big movement, you would not get a statement out of companies. Because in reality, how do you get a big company to respond to you? You take away their money, or you threaten their money, you threaten the bottom line. And that's what Stop Killing Games is doing. And the fact that it's hit 1.2 million. Now, of course, there's a bit of a caveat where you might have like 200,000 might be fake stuff. So that's why people are encouraged to keep on signing it. And by the way, this is only the beginning of July. So who knows what that is. Where'd it go? But anyways, so yeah, essentially lobbyists are now arguing against Stop Killing Games because, well, it hurts their bottom line. And the craziest part that's ironic is that actually what I found out recently, that this video game called like Anthem is actually getting shut, like it serves getting shut down in January. So I don't know what it is, but it's just really funny how this movement is getting up steam. The EA posts a game, it's like, oh, by the way, guys, we're shutting this game down. Now, Anthem has been dead for like a long time, so I can't tell you whether people will play or not, but yeah. But anyways, so before we really get into the video, I do want to show you guys something interesting from Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft have been dragged to the mud so many times, so I don't even want to bother, like, I don't need to drag them any more than they already have been. But interestingly enough, in one of the terms of service here that got out, or someone looked up, it says here, the ULA is effective from the earlier of the dates you purchased, download, or use the product, and they'll terminate according to its terms. You and Ubisoft or its licensors may terminate this ULA at any time for any reason. Termination by Ubisoft will be effective upon A, notice to you, or B, termination of your Ubisoft account, if any, or C, at the time Ubisoft decision to discontinue offering and or supporting the product. This ULA will automatically if you fail to comply with any of the terms and conditions of this ULA upon termination. For any reason, you must immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product in your possession. So basically, what they are telling you is that if my copy of Assassin's Creed 2 for like is essentially, if I get banned, I have to destroy it, which nobody's reasonably going to do. So it doesn't make sense. So it's kind of crazy how in the clauses themselves, they tell you, oh yeah, you have to get rid of your game, which is not happening. Now, of course, Ubisoft has been getting a lot of hits as of recently because, you know, the corporate decision, this and that. But that's probably one of the lowest ones they ever could have, like, done. You have to destroy your product. And who's going to do that? Nobody. So anyways, that's crazy to me. Your physical copy, they say you have to destroy it. But anyways, so in case you're wondering who's on the lobbyist teams, or like that's not team, but who supports the lobbyists, up here you can see it's basically a lot of people, and essentially every single game that you play falls somewhere under one of these publishers. So yeah, like Supercell, which is like Clash of Clans and Clash Royale. You have Bandai Namco, which has like the Soul series, or like fighting games, like you have Tekken that's published by Bandai Namco. Nintendo needs no introduction. Sega, Ubisoft, and EA Games, Activision Blizzard. So yeah, basically the leaders of the AAA industry are all lobbyists in this whole movement. So you can see here that Stop Killing Games has really put a dent in this entire like ecosystem, because, you know, people are asking for something pretty simple, like, oh, we want our games to be functional, and guess what? Yeah, this is like they're not really gonna get away with it. Oh, I forgot about WB. WB is so used to shutting down video game studios. It's kind of insane how much like stuff they've shut down. But anyways, let's not dwell on it too long. I do want to go to the official statement from them and see what they have to say. So according to Video Games Europe, they say here, statement on Stop Killing Games. So Here it says, we appreciate the passion of our community. However, the decision to discontinue online services is multifaceted, never taken lightly, and must be an option for companies when an online experience is no longer commercially viable. We understand that it can be disappointing for players, but when it does not happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Private servers are not always viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave right holders liable. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position and policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months. So interesting how they want to say that. Now, I'm just gonna put this out here right now. If there's any developers who would like to tell me like how this stuff works a bit more in detail, please let me know in the comments below. I have some idea how some of the technical stuff works, but I don't know how it works for the game side. I know I'm more familiar with the business side of stuff, but I don't know the technical side with video games. So do tell what's on here. So I really appreciate your guys' insight. Now, anyways, so if you find that's a bit of a weird statement, because it kind of is, where it's like, oh, it's for me to be like online only and yada yada yada, but the truth is, like, think about it this way. You ever have like a broken game, and then the game's broken, but what always works? The store or any form of microtransaction is always going to be working. I promise you. Look at any game that was broken on day one and tell me that the store wasn't working. If it was like an online, online live service kind of game. And I just want to put this out there that like live service games aren't inherently evil. I want to put that out there. I play plenty of live service games. It's just that the problem with live service games is just that when you break it down, there's no safety in it. Even if you sign their weird terms of agreement, which is like 40 pages long that you're not going to read, it's still kind of crazy how like you have to worry about you not being able to play it, especially ones that you pay for. Okay, like that's the part that messes me up. But anyways, let's move on to their statement here, because there's a lot they actually mentioned that I want to talk about. So I'm going to take some snippets out of this PDF document. They were elaborating a bit more on Stop Killing Games, because it's actually kind of insightful for what they have to say. Now, we're not going to go through every single layer, but I just want to go to the parts that really stuck out to me, especially the bolded parts here. So I want to go here in this introduction section. It says here, the decision to continue a video game's online services is multifaceted and is never taken lightly and must always be a matter of choice. When it does happen, the industry ensures that players are given fair notice of the prospective changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. Now, I didn't actually look up the protection laws before going to this video. I'm off to take a look, and I'll probably let you guys know in the comments below after this video is posted. But interestingly enough, I believe that with protection laws, my memory serves, you have to give like a reasonable window of time. Now, with a game like The Crew, when The Crew went offline, I believe people had maybe like 5 to 6 months before it went offline. It might have actually even been less time. But the point is that there was not enough time for you to really salvage the game before it went offline. Now, The Crew may have been dying, but regardless of the fact that they shut down the game entirely and it has a whole single player mode. That's what people, and you paid for it. That's the part that messes people up. But anyways, here they continue on, says, this document explains the reasons why a video game company may decide to discontinue the functionality supporting the online game and why this may lead to the video game may no longer be playable. It says your online games are interactive entertainment. Unlike a book or a film, an online video game is not a static work. Online video games are interactive entertainment that combine numerous elements of artistic and intellectual creation with software programming and server infrastructure. Online video games evolve over time after their initial release, providing consumers with regular new content, experiences, patches, and updates. This is highly valued by players and is required to compete in the market. It involves significant ongoing development expenditures over years, sometimes decades. Video games companies put significant investment into creating and developing the best interactive entertainment and experience for their passionate player bases. The right to decide how, when, and for how long to make an online video game service available to players is vital in justifying this cost and fostering continued technical innovation. As rights holders and economic entities, video game companies must remain free to decide when an online game is no longer commercially viable and to end continued server support for the game, imposing a legal obligation to continue server support indefinitely, or to develop online video games in a specific technical manner that will allow permanent use. Will raise the costs and the risks of developing such games. It will have a chilling effect on game design and act as disincentive to make such games available in Europe. It is far from trivial and modification or a simple addition to the game development phase. It would ignore material, reputational, safety, and security concerns. So there is just one tiny point. I know we really don't like big companies, but I actually have to be a bit fair, sadly, and that when it comes down to the coding of these old games, I can't actually pick on this. If you ever had if you ever had to how do I put this? Say you have like a drawing, okay, and a person has a certain vision of the drawing. You're drawing a flower, right? Okay, sure, there's techniques to draw a flower, but people have different ways of drawing said flower. So say I'm a programmer and I have to go in, and if I'm brought onto a new game, I have to learn even if it's the same programming language, I have to learn the style of the game it was written in. I have to learn how it connects to the network. I learn how it connects to the AWS servers or Amazon Web Services, all that stuff. So when it comes down to that, I will actually concede where that stuff is very complicated. It's not undoable. It's not impossible, but it's complicated. You can't just jump in and just give a game back. You can't just jump in and say, okay, we just got to make this online. That's not entirely how it works. At least from what I understand. And let's see how it is. Like I'm telling you. Because for example, if I have to look at somebody's code, I have to figure out how they wrote it, how it's supposed to work. Even with the amount of comments they put in, I don't even know what their intention is with it. I don't know what their creative vision. I have to do all that interpretation. So imagine you do that for like multiple video games at a time. It's not an easy task. But these companies, they do have the money and the resources for it. So that's the only point I'll actually slightly concede. And of course, the older the game is, the more complicated it might actually get, because some old code is written so whack to the point where like you don't know what's going on. I believe I believe like in Naughty Dog's, what's the game? Jack and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. I'm pretty sure, don't quote, I have to go find this quote, but I believe that when it came down to the engine, only like one person at the time like really understood how to use it because he wrote the engine or something like that. It's kind of insane. Now, of course, people have reverse engineered that game like many times. People have like modded it. They've had developer tools on it, so they've had their time with that game, and people have eventually cracked the code. But it's kind of interesting how how intricate that game is, and yeah, I'm pretty sure one dude knew like the ins and outs of the engine the most, and people couldn't like build on it. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here, but you get the point here. So yeah, it's not an easy task, guys. Let's not pretend that you can just do this overnight. But something that I want to mention also is that Stop Killing Games is asking for stuff to be in a functional state. It's not asking for stuff to be. They're not asking for continued support, which seems to be what people like Pirate Software have been saying, and what these game lobbyists have been saying. Where it's like, oh, they want continued support. It's like, no, they just want a functional game. If you paid $60 for a game and you want to play it offline, you should have the option to, which, in my opinion, is pretty fair. So, on to our next portion, where it says here, why an obligation on video game companies to provide only a limited type of end-of-life plan is disappropriate, which is kind of interesting, but let's actually take a look. So, we're just going to go to the bullet points really, really quickly. So, it says here, the first point says, reduced or no player protection, you have increased security risks, and I have to concede a little bit again. Like, yes, that's kind of true. But honestly, if you look at a case like Team Fortress 2, where the main servers are so bad to the point where like the botting is so bad where people have to go to private servers and it's actually much better ran. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm coming up with these on the top of my head. So it's not like, it sounds like they're trying to do everything so they don't do it. And so impact on companies. Funny how the player safety only has 2 points. But sorry. It says here, significant engineering and architectural changes. That's actually, I mean, yes, but let's read what it says here though. Allowing players to run private servers would would present significant engineering and architectural challenges for many games due to the way in such online features are integrated with other proprietary systems and services required for the game. Creating a private server compatible version would be a prohibitive cost in some cases years or decades after the game's initial release, when only a small audience it remains. And guys, remember something too, this is just an initiative. It's not exactly, there's no laws being put in place yet, because with Stop Killing Games, what I am hoping for is that they're going to go and maybe talk to developers and go and not negotiate, but like, put their foot down a bit and be like, this is what we want. How, like, from a coding side, a technical side, how would this work? That's what this initiative should be aiming for. Like, that's what I hope it's aiming for. And from my understanding, that's what it looks like it's been doing. But you see here, like, if you keep going, negative impact on investment in games, jobs, and customer growth. Ensuring an online game can work without official service support requires a significant investment of engineering resources, making it a very costly exercise for video game companies. And so it's kind of crazy. But you know what's crazy, actually, what I want to mention too, is that video game budgets are so insane nowadays. Like, it actually baffles me how expensive it is to make a video game. So what are these people spending money on? So that's what I want to know. And they don't even I don't even factor in marketing. Okay, just the development alone is ridiculous. Like, you don't need to drop allegedly like GTA 6 as a budget is allegedly what, $1 billion. Like, you don't need $1 billion to drop a good game. Okay, just gotta make a good game. Not easy, but you gotta do that. Anyways, you have reputational harm, which is like, I don't know. It's kind of fun they say that, but like companies kind of run their own reputation. So it's kind of crazy. I don't think people don't see Ubisoft and EA be like, man, these are such upstanding companies. No, I don't think so either. Anyways, keep going here. It says impact on intellectual property rights. You have erosion of intellectual property, competition from community-supported versions, forfeiture of licensing and reproduction rights, constraints from third-party IP, and constraints from third-party services. And there we go on, and that's like the bits of it. And if you even go down further, they even talk about, like the importance of consumer protection laws. They have transparency, reimbursement, service duration, and fair terms. Now, my biggest issue with, like, especially the transparency part, is the fact that whenever you pay for a video game, okay, you are not told. The most you might get told is this requires an internet connection. You're not even told you're given a license, because when you purchase for a video game, especially online, you're getting a license to use the game. So if they want to shut down the game, guess what happens? They can shut down the game. So there's nothing on the packaging where it says, oh, this is only viable for the next 5 or 10 years. Okay, because if you start telling people, oh, this video game only works for the next 10 years, people are gonna be like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to put money into something that's only gonna last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. Like, really? And especially with like service duration as well. Now, I have to also mention, just like to give some nuance here, is that when it comes down to it, most companies and most stuff you use, you don't know when it's going to run out. You don't know when it's gonna like shut down. You might have like a really popular game. You might have a dead game. Who knows? But regardless of all that, you can see here that even just a little bit of knowing what you're buying would really go a long way. And that's the problem, okay? Because people who bought The Crew, they were like, well, I bought a game. I bought a game 10 years ago, and we're good to go. But it turns out, oh yeah, you can't keep playing the single player mode. Like, make it make sense. That's the problem with it. And so when it comes down to it, most companies are robbing you blind. And so you can't even have leisure without having issues with this. So all in all, I just want to say that, like, when it comes down to it, Stop Killing Games is a pretty great movie. And the fact that the industry itself is shaking, and it's just, oh, they're very scared. It's like, yeah, it shows you that it's working. So if you ever think that you don't have like a chance to fight for something, like, hey, give it a shot. You never know. Like, you never know how far you could get with it. But anyways, I just wanted to go over this like really quickly, because it's actually kind of interesting how fast, like, ever since it hit over the 1 million mark, companies have definitely been looking to scramble for a response. And if you ever pay attention, people aren't buying it because, well, I mean, if you've been lied to for so long, I mean, how much more can you take? I know I couldn't take much. But yeah, no, Stop Killing Games is making some pretty big headways. I believe that this will probably be my last video on the movement until I see something much bigger. Like, for instance, like I see, I don't know, like an executive or some speaks out against it, whatever. Or a developer wants to talk about it. I would love to talk to a developer about it, but you know, just little old me. But anyways, so yeah, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow my social notifications below. But that's it for me today. So yeah, no, fight the good fight, I guess.